My name is Adam Green, and I am one of the co-founders of the Progressive Change Campaign Committee, along with Ms. Stephanie Taylor over here. We are a national organization that formed about 2 years ago to advance progressive policy issues and to give grassroots support to bold leaders in Congress. We have about 700,000 members nationally, including over 5,600 in the state of Nevada. No issue is more important to our members and to the American people than Social Security. And in recent weeks, as Republicans have actively proposed cuts to Social Security, including raising the retirement age, no Democratic leader has stood stronger and vowed to protect Social Security from cuts more than Senator Harry Reid. Today, we're here to thank him and to let him know that we will be in the trenches fighting with him to protect the most popular and successful government program in America, and other programs like Medicare if they come under attack. Specifically today, we're delivering over 50,000 thank you notes that people across the nation took the time to write, including nearly 1,000 from the state of Nevada, thanking Senator Reid for standing strong on this issue. Now, here's a little bit of context for today's event. Starting at the beginning of this year, literally on January 2nd, Senator Lindsey Graham from South Carolina went on Meet the Press and said that he would attempt to go back to the Republican playbook of trying to hold important bills hostage until Democrats agreed to cut Social Security, specifically mentioning raising the retirement age, among other benefit cuts. Right after the State of the Union this week, House Majority Leader Eric Hanner said that only those currently 55 and older would be spared under the Republican plan to cut Social Security benefits. And House Budget Chair Paul Ryan said in the official Republican response that only, quote, people in and near retirement will be protected. Translation, for every American currently less than 55 years old, and for all future seniors, Republicans want to gut the most popular and successful government program in American history, a program with a $2.5 trillion surplus in which American workers paid for and earned. And a CNN poll just this week showed that 79% of Democrats oppose cuts to Social Security. But do you know who else opposes those cuts? 78% of independents, 78% of Republicans, and even 70% of Tea Party supporters oppose cuts to Social Security. I think that's called a mandate. Now, unfortunately, there have been some Democratic politicians who have hemmed and hawed a little bit on this issue. Some talk about finding common ground with people who just are fundamentally on the wrong side of this issue and on the wrong side of the American people. But on January 9th, when Senator Harry Reid was on Meet the Press, he truly inspired people. When the host of that show kind of ignored the fact that Social Security had a $2.5 trillion surplus and asked Senator Reid if he supports fundamental changes to Social Security, the majority leader said, quote, one of the things that always troubles me when we start talking about the debt, the first thing people do is run to Social Security. Social Security is a program that works, and it's fully funded for the next 40 years. Stop picking on Social Security. As you'll hear in a bit, some people watching back home in Nevada nearly jumped out of their seats. They were so happy when they heard you say that, Senator. But Senator Reid actually went further. He went on offense against Republicans who spread lies about Social Security as an excuse to cut it. He said, quote, it's not in crisis. That's something that is perpetuated by people who don't like government. Social Security is fine. And that's exactly right. With its $2.5 trillion surplus, Social Security is the most secure program in America. But Senator Reid went one step further still. When asked if he'd accept things that only politicians and pundits in D.C. would call tweaks to Social Security, things that are actually huge changes, like raising the retirement age, the majority leader put his foot down, saying, I'm not going to go to any of those backdoor methods to whack Social Security recipients. I'm not going to do that. We have a lot of things we can do with this debt that's a problem. But one of the places where I'm not going to be part of is picking on Social Security. Senator Reid, there were literally some people with tears in their eyes back home when you said that. People were inspired. Today, we're going to hear from 3 of the 50,000 people who wrote thank you notes to Senator Reid. And then we will officially deliver him the full stack of thank you notes. First up is Larry Fleischer from Henderson, Nevada. Larry?
Thank you. Hi, my name is Larry Fleischer. I am 69 years old and I live in Henderson, Nevada with my bride of 44 years, Eileen. I served my country in the Army from 1962 to 1968, around the time of the missile crisis. I have worked hard my entire life. I'm currently working as a manufacturer's representative, selling goods to hotels and other companies in Nevada. My wife and I live a modest lifestyle. We've taken one vacation in the last 44 years. I came here today to thank Senator Reid for standing strong against Social Security cuts. This is an important issue to me, and here's why. My family would not be able to survive if Social Security were cut or if the retirement age was raised. Even with our current income plus the Social Security, my wife and I struggle to make ends meet. If Social Security were cut, basic things like food and house payments would be in jeopardy. Cutting Social Security would also be generational robbery. We paid into Social Security, we earned it, and at this point in our lives, we certainly need it. It is not Social Security, it is survival security. For Republicans to propose cutting benefits for seniors of tomorrow is cruel. I'm proud to be one of over 50,000 Americans to thank Senator Reid for standing strong against Social Security cuts. I'm proud to have voted for you, and I urge you to keep fighting on this issue, Senator. Thank you. I'm now going to read a couple of the thank you notes from Nevadans who couldn't be here today. Dina Porter from Fernley writes, I watched you on Meet the Press, and as a senior, I'm most relieved and happy that I voted for you. Thank you so much for standing up for Social Security. Charlie Loomis of Mesquite writes, way to go, Senator. I saw the show, and my wife and I almost jumped up and cheered. Sonny Miller O'Connor of Reno writes, it breaks my heart how my government can treat my Social Security, which I've paid into for many years, as if it is their own personal bank account. Your comments restore my faith that not all politicians are attempting to bleed our retirement accounts dry. I am very proud to have voted for you. Bruce Talbot of Henderson writes, Social Security is a program supported by those who pay into it. If anyone in Congress thinks that Social Security funds are a great way to pay for disasters caused by millionaires and billionaires of this country, let them think again. Sherry Nolan, also of Henderson, writes, give them hell, Harry. Don't let them mess with Social Security. And finally, Susan Nelson of Las Vegas writes, as a constituent of yours and as a volunteer for your recent reelection campaign, I find that when you speak out like this, I'm filled with pride. You are my senator. Thank you. And now I'd like to introduce Gloria Spotwood.
Hello, my name is Gloria Spotswood. I'm from Alexandria, Virginia. I'm 53 years old and work in a nursing home as a food services manager. I'd like to tell you how raising the Social Security retirement age would affect people like me across the nation, and why I'm so thankful that Senator Reid is standing strong for Social Security. Every day I serve people who could be your mother or your grandmother. It's a job I love. But it's also a physically draining job. If a 40-pound case of potatoes gets delivered to the nursing home, I'm often the one to receive it, carry it, and put it away. I often work 14 to 15-hour days at a time. And I've worked 23-hour days with no sleep. I'm on my feet all day. Over the years, that's taken a toll on my heels, my bones, my joints. Sometimes if I try to stand or sit, it's difficult, and I'm only 53. Senator Reid, I love my job in the nursing home. But if Republicans come along and tell people like me that the Social Security retirement age is going up, our bodies won't be able to make many more years. Senator Reid, you know that, right? I know you do.
You're just a kid.
And that's why I'm proud to be one of the 50,000 Americans to say thank you, Senator Reid, for fighting to protect Social Security from cuts. Please keep fighting for people like me. Thank you. And now I'm going to read some thank you notes from other people around the country. Albert Pennybacker from Lexington in Mitch McConnell's home state of Kentucky. As a pastor, I have seen Social Security making the difference so that older folks in modest circumstances do not have to grovel at the end of life. That must not be disturbed. It reflects the best of American character. Thank you for your clear, firm, and progressive stand. Michelle Bacon from Manassas, Virginia writes, I'm only 24, but I've been paying into Social Security since I was 15 and will pay into it for the rest of my life. People like you give me hope that I'll get my share when I'm a senior citizen. Alan Ballman of Valley Stream, New York writes, Dear Senator Reid, I watched your interview and answer concerning Social Security. It was the most eloquent statement I've heard you make and strikingly honest. If you and your colleagues could always be this forthright, we Democrats would never have to worry about another election. Thank you and keep up the good work. Esther Confino of New Hyde Park, New York writes, You have the guts that all our leaders should demonstrate. Keep on being a fighter. And now, I'd like to introduce David Clark.
Thank you, Gloria. Thank you very much. My name is David Klutz. I'm 61 years old, and I served my country as a paratrooper in Vietnam. I now live in Las Vegas, and I'm a constituent of Senator Reid's, proudly. When I rejoined civilian life, I became a union pipe fitter and welder. I can tell you jobs like this really wear you down. They wear on your body. It's hard. Every day you go home aching, and you work long hours. You know, it's funny to say this, but because of war-related injuries, I was one of the lucky ones when it came time to retire. I was able to retire at age 60 on Social Security disability. But let me tell you, there are still people 60 years old and beyond doing the welding today. They're in pain every day, and all they're doing is waiting on retirement, hoping they can retire. Senator, if anything, we need an earlier retirement date, not a later one. And I know you know that. I'm proud to have voted for you, Senator. I'm proud to have supported you, and I'm proud to be your constituent. And I'm proud that you're leading the fight against cuts to Social Security and attempts to raise the retirement age. Please know that there are millions of us counting on you, depending on you to prevail in this fight. Thank you, Senator. Thank you.
Now, Larry and David will officially present Senator Reid. There we go. On behalf of over 50,000 members of the Progressive Change Campaign Committee from Nevada and across the nation, we are proud to officially deliver these thank you notes to you, Senator Reid, for fighting strong to protect Social Security from cuts.
Thank you very much. I was especially impressed with those numbers. Basically, 80% of the American people support leaving Social Security alone. Democrats, independents, Republicans. And I wish my Republican colleagues would understand that they're not representing their constituents. And I thank each of you, and you saw the little conversation before we got started. I was thrown off a little bit because I knew we had someone from Henderson and someone from Las Vegas, and I was thrown a curveball when he said, I'm from Silver Spring. Well, we have a Silver Spring in Nevada also. And I was afraid, well, maybe I missed something here. So each of you, thank you for being here. The most successful social program in the history of the world is Social Security. And because of this, seniors don't live in fear of retirement. The only fear they have today is we're going to mess with it. That's their fear. And I go back to my grandmother. My grandmother on my dad's mother. It's only 4 of the grandparents that I knew. And she was a wonderful lady. Short and portly. Great storyteller. And she had 8 children. She lived alone. She was independent. Why? Because she had what she called her old age pension check. And that was her Social Security, is what it was. It allowed her independence from her family, from her boys, that she could live alone. But Social Security is for more than old age retirement. Social Security is for the disabled. Social Security is for widows and orphans. What a wonderful program that we have. Unfortunately, it appears that it's become the official position of the Republican Party to privatize and dismantle Social Security, and that is sad. Official position of the Republican Party when 80% of the Republicans don't agree with that. And so you don't think I'm making this up. Look who delivered the Republican response to Obama's State of the Union message. Paul Ryan from Wisconsin, who has been talking for years about privatizing Social Security. Now, we went through that battle, and we won that battle. The American people do not want the stock market to be determinative of Social Security. American people don't want that. They're using scare tactics, saying the program's in crisis and the verge of bankruptcy. That is a myth, and it's not true. And as we've heard explained to everyone here, Social Security has huge surpluses. This is the plan. You understand? This isn't anything that's new. The plan was a deal negotiated with Tip O'Neill and Dan Rostenkowski and President Reagan and others in 1983. They were going to have a program to save Social Security. And it was going to bring in the early parts of the program, huge amounts of money. And it's done that. Everyone knows as the program went on, the money wouldn't be coming in like it was at the first part. We were paying ahead of time, and that's what it did. So it's only a program in crisis for those who want to privatize and eliminate the program. For the rest of us, it's not in crisis. So in short, as long as I'm the majority leader, I'm going to do everything within my legislative powers to prevent privatizing or eliminating Social Security. Simply say it's off the table. We have to balance our budget, and I've said that, and we've done that. The Clinton administration, folks, we balanced the budget, and we didn't use Social Security proceeds to do that. We can do it again. We've done it before. We're not going to balance the budget on the backs of senior citizens. This is an issue that I'm really disappointed is something the Republicans want to use to balance their budget. We're not going to let them do that.